They say that in life, some words are postponed for so long that when we finally decide to speak them, the one who was meant to hear them no longer remembers who we were. This is the story of Thomas, a 62-year-old man who lived 4 years behind the walls of silence and eventually learned that the silence people build can be more destructive than any shout. Thomas lived in a small house in a quiet corner of the city. It was a home that once echoed with the laughter of two brothers, but now held only the footprints of memories. He once had a brother, Samuel, who was closer than a friend and a companion of his childhood days. They ran through the forests together, shared secrets under blankets, and on rainy days, they sat by the window, listening to the rhythm of falling drops. They were inseparable. But distances do not always appear suddenly. Sometimes, they begin with something small, a tiny hurt, a forgotten birthday, a broken promise, or a pride that refuses to bend. These small things, like tiny bricks, slowly built a wall between the two brothers. One misunderstanding led to another, and soon, the silence became a habit. 28 years passed in that deafening silence, until one autumn evening, the leaves drifted softly from the branches outside his window, and Thomas was stirring his tea, which had long since gone cold. His phone rang. The number was unknown. As he always did with unknown numbers, he wanted to decline the call, but something inside him trembled. It was as though a quiet voice whispered, "This time, answer." He picked up the phone. A woman's voice came from the other end. "Mr. Thomas Miller, your brother, Samuel, has listed you as his emergency contact." Thomas froze, the spoon clattering against his cup. "Samuel. But we haven't spoken in years," the nurse replied, her voice gentle. "I know, but he specifically asked for you." That one sentence was enough to shake Thomas's heart to its very core. He had spent nearly 3 decades wondering if Samuel ever thought of him, and now he had his answer. An hour later, he found himself standing before the entrance of a nursing home. The hallways were warm, the air scented with age and a profound, lingering silence. He saw memories passing through the eyes of the residents sitting in the common room. The nurse led him to room 214. Thomas paused at the door, his hand hovering over the handle. He wondered, after all these years, what am I supposed to say? Where do I even begin? He took a deep breath and opened the door. Inside, he saw Samuel. He was thin, bent over in his chair, with trembling hands and eyes that seemed lost somewhere between the past and the present. Samuel slowly lifted his head, and in a soft, confused voice, he said, "Dead." The word pierced Thomas's heart like a shard of glass. Gently, he walked closer and replied, "No, Sam, it's me. Thomas." Samuel blinked, his eyes trying to focus, as though he was searching through the dust of his mind for a familiar image. And then, a faint, fragile smile appeared on his face. Tommy? It was a name no one had called him in 30 years, a name that belonged to a time when they were just 2 boys, before the world and their own pride got in the way. Thomas felt a lump form in his throat. He sat down beside his brother and managed to say the only words that felt right. "I am sorry." He didn't know exactly for which day, which mistake, or which lost year. He only knew it had to be said. Samuel whispered, his voice barely audible. "We had a conversation that we never finished." And in that moment, with those few words, the long, cold winter between them began to thaw. That was the beginning of their return. Thomas came back the next day, and the days after that. He made it his new routine. Some days were good. On those days, Samuel recognized him. His eyes would light up, and he'd smile. He would tell childhood stories, bring in forgotten moments back to life with surprising clarity. They'd laugh about the time they tried to build a raft, or the summer they spent chasing fireflies. But other days were harder. On those days, Samuel was lost among faces and times. He would look at Thomas with vacant eyes, and Thomas would have to introduce himself all over again. "It's me, Sam. It's Tommy." Each time, he spoke the words with patience and love, hoping to be a lighthouse in the fog of his brother's mind. Each visit, no matter how difficult, illuminated another piece of their shared past. Until one quiet evening, Samuel was having one of his clearer moments. He turned to Thomas and said, "Do you know why I got so angry that night? The night everything fell apart." Thomas shook his head. "I searched for the answer for years." Samuel continued, his voice heavy with regret. "I wasn't angry at you. I was angry at myself. But Mom got sick, so I stayed behind to take care of her. And later, when you found your own success, when you moved away and built a life, I envied you. I was stuck, and I watched you soar. And my envy became silence." Tears welled up in Thomas's eyes. All those years, he thought he had done something unforgivable. He never imagined the silence was born from his brother's own pain. Samuel looked at him, his own eyes misty. "I'm sorry. You didn't deserve my silence. None of it." Thomas took his brother's frail hand and held it tight. "I'm sorry too, for the call I never made, for the years I let slip away because my own pride was too big." Samuel smiled, a genuine, peaceful smile. "There is always a bridge between brothers, Tommy. We just forget how to cross it sometimes." In the days that followed, they slowly pieced their memories together, sometimes with laughter, sometimes with tears. They weren't fixing the past, they were just acknowledging it together. Then, one calm sunset, with a mind clearer than it had been in a long time, Samuel looked at Thomas and said, "Thank you for coming back, Tommy. I didn't want you to fix the past. I only wanted you to come before I forgot the way home." 2 days later, Samuel passed away quietly in his sleep. At the funeral, Thomas stood beside the coffin and gently whispered, "We finished our conversation, Sam, even if we didn't remember where it began." That night, for the first time in years, Thomas sat in his house, and the silence was no longer heavy or painful. It was a silence that healed, filled with the warmth of their final days together. And in that healing silence, he made himself a promise. No conversation would remain unfinished. No silence would ever again turn into a wall. He would call those he loved. He would ask. He would forgive. And he would speak before it was too late. Because in the second half of life, some lessons are understood at the very last moment. But sometimes, that last moment can still be saving. It can bring peace not just to the one who is leaving, but to the one who is left behind. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, please consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that make you think and feel.